All right, Patriots fans, our offseason coverage continues, and something New England really needs is that true number one wide receiver. So hit that like button if you want the Patriots to get a true wide receiver one. If you don't like the video, I guess you want to see more Juju Smith-Schuster as wide receiver one. So hit that like button if you want that to change. I'm Harrison Graham from Chat Sports. Speaking of a wide receiver one, on today's show, we're exploring a potential Brandon Aiyuk trade. There's been rumors flying around. He's kind of sent some cryptic messages since the Super Bowl ended when he only had 3 catches for 49 yards, entering the final year of his contract. Could he be available? Let's get you caught up with everything going on around Aiyuk. His brother / best friend said that Aiyuk will play in Las Vegas due to his frustrations. His girlfriend also indicated his days with the Niners may be over. He is entering the final year of his rookie deal. You would think he'd want an extension regardless of where he's playing in 2024 just to get that financial security. You're able to see kind of these cryptic social media messages here. And it kind of started after the Super Bowl when Aiyuk put on his IG story, like, "Don't forget who got you here," is what he said. And that caught a lot of people's attention. Then he's got friends and family members giving their 2 cents as well. Here's Brandon Aiyuk's girlfriend saying, "Okay, this might have been the last day we touched foot on Levi Stadium, me and Braylon, their son, because we might not be out here next season." Now, Rolly, this isn't the first time we've seen a situation like this when it comes to a professional athlete. When it comes to a 49ers wide receiver, this is very much deja vu because Debo and his brother were doing similar stuff a couple years ago, and in the end, they just wanted to be paid properly, and once they were, everyone was happy again. So this could just be a classic money play with free agency around the corner, but I'll say this, if you're a team like the Patriots and you need that true wide receiver one, you should at least check in and see what's going on.
So, Harrison, I'm going to act like whatever you just said about them just trying to maybe get money and just throw it
Isn't
out
real?
the window because he is going to be a member of the New England Patriots, and he should be a member of the Patriots. The New England could have drafted him back in 2021 instead they go with the bad wide receiver of N'Keal Harry and drafted in 2019, excuse me. Either way, though, I just think the Patriots just absolutely need to find that wide receiver one, right? This has been something that we've talked about over and over again, and it's been part of the reason why a lot of people even kind of want Mac Jones to stay. People have really actually said that they should keep Mac Jones.
Those people are wrong.
And draft Marvin Harrison Jr. So the dialogue around the Patriots wide receiver core, like, they do need to find someone. Aiyuk could be that wide receiver one, and if he is available, New England has the draft capital, they have the cap space, go all in.
Yeah, because I think the cap space is significant. Because if you're trading for Aiyuk, you're signing him to an extension. There's no doubt about it. Again, the Mac Jones thing is just like, guys, it's over. Like, Mac Jones is not going to be here. Even if they take Marvin at 3, Mac Jones is not going to be this team's quarterback moving forward. Should the Patriots trade for Brandon Aiyuk? Type Y for yes or type N for no. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's episode. So if you get hit with a YouTube ad break, scroll down right there and reply with a Y for yes or N for no. Look at Brandon Aiyuk's career stats. I mean, what I like about him, Rolly, is he's kind of just gotten better and better. Early on in his career, he was kind of in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse a little bit. I think it was early in 2021 he found himself in the doghouse and kind of lifted his way out of it, had his first 1,000-yard season last year. Then this year was one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's a route-running technician, and you and I have talked about this off camera. Deebo Samuel's a good football player. Brandon Aiyuk's a much better receiver. Like, I don't think there's any doubt about that. So if you have a chance to get your hands on this guy, I think he can be a wide receiver one for a lot of teams in this league.
Yeah, I mean, you just look, and what you love to see is someone who just gets better year after year after year. His yards have gone up every single year. His yards per catch skyrocketed to 17.9 this season. Touchdowns have always been there. And I like what you mentioned. Like, he was in the doghouse of Kyle Shanahan early on in his 49ers tenure. And for him to put in the work, get out of the doghouse, and really start performing at a wide receiver one level shows the mental toughness he can display, and he can be the guy who has the shoulders and the burden of being a number 1 wide receiver for a ball club. Obviously, they have a lot of talent in San Francisco with McCaffrey, Debo, and George Kittle, so that alleviates some of the pressure on Aiyuk, so he doesn't have to be the one always getting defended by the opposing team's best player. But I just think when you look at his hands, his shiftiness, his route running ability, and his fearlessness to go over the middle of the field and make some catches and then continue afterwards the catch, I just think this is everything New England has been looking for. You pair that up with a Demario Douglas, you get that true wide receiver 1. Maybe you still draft one in the draft, maybe in the 3rd round potentially as well. And now you're starting to really put together a good wide receiver crew here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's a couple pieces they have that can be complementary pieces, but Douglas is not a 1. I think we all know that. Kendrick Bourne's not a 1. We'll see what they do with him. Maybe you bring him back to be your 2 and you go with Douglas as your 3. Maybe you don't bring him back and you draft 2 like we said. We'll have to wait and see how they would approach. But it's just so much easier to round out your wide receiver room when you have that top guy to lean on. And the Patriots just don't have that right now. So maybe Brandon Aiyuk's the answer. We'll explore a potential trade in just a moment, but I do want to tell you guys first about our sponsor on today's show. That is Prize Picks. Football may be over, but there's still money to be had on a daily basis because the NBA is ongoing, college basketball, NHL. Major League Baseball is just around the corner. Pitchers and catchers reported today for a lot of teams. So you can play on a daily basis. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started today. All you do is pick 2 to 6 players, and if they will go for more or less than their Prize Picks projections. We got a 3-player entry here. Duncan Robinson, he's been a little bit hot here. We'll go the more on that one. Same with Nikola Jovic, Roley's personal favorite. And then Derek White, who's kind of becoming a folk legend in the greater Boston area. 3 mores there, 10 to win 50. You can win up to 5 times your money on a 3-player entry like that, up to 25 times your money on a 6-player entry. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. Get started today. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. All right, so Roley cooked up this trade idea. Brandon Aiyuk to New England for a 2nd and a future 7th, which is basically no value. It's just an additional pick there.
It's very mean to that 2025 7th-round pick, Harrison.
It's worth like half a point on a trade chart or on a draft chart, but we'll throw that in there.
It's a sweetener.
Hey, Brock Purdy went there, so there you go.
You know what? You could call it like that, but I think he's worth the 1st-round pick. And the only reason why you might be able to slide in your 2nd, well, it's because it's 2 picks after the last pick in the 1st round. So it's got pretty much the same value. You're just losing out on that 5th-year option potentially that you could have with a 1st-round pick. But here's the thing, like that has to be taken accounted for when you're offering a trade package for Brandon Aiyuk. I mentioned a little bit earlier, he's going to want a contract extension as soon as you make a deal for him. So maybe that value that the 49ers get in return is a little lessened because the opposing team that deals for him knows they're going to have to shell out $25 million a year on a 4-year deal or even 5 years to keep him around on their specific team. So I think 34 and next year's 7th-round pick is absolutely fair to get Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, I wonder what San Francisco would say to that, because I would look – I think a counter would be – well, A.J. Brown went for a 1 and a 3, and he got a contract extension right after. So it'd be interesting to say. Obviously, you're not going to give up 3 to get Brandon Aiyuk. So maybe it's 34 and a middle round pick. We'd have to wait and see. But if Brandon Aiyuk also goes public and is like, I want out of here, that could lower the trade value as well. So I think there's a lot of factors that come into play in this situation. Obviously, San Francisco would have to be willing to move him. Is change on the horizon there after yet another heartbreaking Super Bowl loss? It's hard to say, but if the chatter increases from Aiyuk's camp, it'll be fascinating to see how things play out this offseason. Would you accept this trade, a 2nd and a 7th to San Francisco for Brandon Aiyuk? I think it's a home run for New England. Does San Francisco take it? I'm not so sure. A for accept, D for decline. Let us know in the comment section down below.
Yeah, I'm doing it without a doubt, Harrison. And it's just because the Patriots need to address that wide receiver room, and I think it's their 2nd biggest need behind quarterback. I think if you ranked out the biggest needs for New England to get back to the postseason, number 1, clear cut, figure out the quarterback. Number 2, I think, is finally getting a weapon for a quarterback to have as that guy he can lean on. And then number 3 would be the offensive tackle position. Obviously, Trent Brown likely going to be a free agent who is not going to return to Foxborough. And you speak of free agency. This is a decent wide receiver free agent group, but they could quickly go off the board here. It feels like T. Higgins is expected to get franchise tagged. It doesn't mean he can't get traded on the tag, by the way, if he just says, I'm not going to play on the tag. But he's likely going to at least be tagged. Mike Evans is a free agent, but will New England really bid for someone that experienced, that maybe doesn't fit the mold of winning in the next 2 to 3 seasons?
There's also a report out there, 25 to 30 million. So if you're a rebuilding team like New England, do you want to pay that for a 30-year-old receiver? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, and then you got Michael Pittman and Kelvin Ridley. Those two intrigue me because I think Ridley will hit the free agent market. I think Pittman, that one's tough. Will they tag him? Will they not?
I think they tag him.
It makes sense for them to, but there is a little bit of a possibility that he slips through the crack. And then obviously you have Kendrick Bourne, your own free agent as well. Like, if you can't sign one of those top guys and Aiyuk's available, you have to go all in. Now, the flip side might be, well, why don't we just draft a wide receiver, have 5 years of a cheaper contract, and then go that route rather than dealing it for Brandon Aiyuk? Well, the thing is, like, when you're talking that 34th pick, you're talking Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin. Brian Thomas, Adunze Neighbors, and Harrison will be off the board at that point without a doubt.
Yeah.
Do we think those guys I just mentioned, a.k.a. Franklin, Mitchell, Coleman, and McConkey, can be as good as Brandon Aiyuk is right now? I don't know if I'm willing to go there, Harrison.
Well, it's certainly a gamble, right? Like there's no way of knowing that. Like Aiyuk's a proven commodity, so any trade package to me that you don't have to give up your first round pick for to get Aiyuk, I think is worthwhile. I mean, even if it was like a 2 and a 4, even a 2 and like next year's third, I might even be open to that. And then, you pick your quarterback at 3. There's always been a lot of chatter. Are they going to trade down? Maybe they don't like the third quarterback in this draft. If that's the one that falls in their lap, we'll see how that shakes out. But, yeah, I mean, look, if you could get a guy like Aiyuk at the top of your wide receiver room, that really just makes you feel better around the rest of the room. But then, you add a complimentary piece or 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's my dream. And dreams usually don't happen. But it is my dream that Brandon Aiyuk headlines this wide receiver group in 2024. You pair that up with Demario Douglas, the rookie out of Liberty, he was fantastic. Like, you could count on him to be your guy inside in the middle of the field as that slot guy. And then maybe you re-sign Kendrick Bourne on a team-friendly deal. He said he wants to return. He likes the area. He likes the Patriots. You have him as your wide receiver 2. I think that's fine. Aiyuk is 1. Douglas inside with Tyquan Thornton as that vertical guy. Maybe year 3 is the year he can finally put some things together. And then your wide receiver 4 and 5 with Thornton is one of Juju and Parker. I'd honestly like to see New England try to move off one of those 2. So maybe you keep Juju for the inside veteran leadership with Demario Douglas and then have Thornton, Aiyuk, and Bourne on the outside. It's a dream. It'd be nice to have. And a rookie quarterback would like having those weapons. I mean, that's a decent weapon group, at least at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I mean, it's again when you get that top guy, all of a sudden you're like, oh, Demario Douglas is my 3. That feels pretty good. Like Juju is like a rotation guy. That feels pretty good. Like it's the domino effect. It's not just about the guy you're getting. It's about the role everyone else plays once you do get that guy. So that's why I do think it's vital that the Patriots get a number 1 this offseason. Maybe they do take MHJ at 3. Maybe they do trade for an Aiyuk or someone else becomes available. But I do think that's got to be a priority for Elliott Wolf and his staff. Hit that subscribe button on Patriots Today. We're breaking down the latest Patriots news, rumors, draft, free agency, trade buzz, everything else in between on this channel. We're trying to get to 9,000 subs ASAP. So if you don't want to miss out on any of it, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.